Earth, outer space. All humanity is imprisoned in countless independent bubbles, encircling the Earth into a ball. The next moment. In the sun, stretch out a dazzling golden hand and clap it with one palm. Earth, it exploded. You fainted for a moment. In a daze, your mind keeps ringing with the system's binding prompt sound. Ding. The Earth Revenge Alliance system has been successfully bound. Extraordinary talents have been randomly distributed. Ding. The Zhutian Mercenary Union has been successfully bound. You are even more exciting in the Zhutian and Wanjie realms. Ding. We have detected that you have the potential to become a god. The binding of the Pantheon has been successful. Ding. Chaowei Communication Company has noticed you and has given you a communication mark as a gift. Ding. The Pan-Human Alliance system has been successfully bound. A rule-level talent has been detected, and the permission has been raised to level 69. You hear Earth will shouting to you, "Be careful of the heavens, the enemy is." In the next moment, you completely fainted. Chapter 1. Regional Time Stop Capability. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 45 begins Invincible. Zhang Chen's consciousness was drowsy, and his mind was still hovering around the situation before his coma. I am looking for a novel to read. Then. Earth exploded. By the way, I also bound 5 systems. Will of Earth make me cautious of the heavens? Is it the celestial level I imagined? So my system is mostly complete. Is there a problem with all the other systems except for the revenge system? Thinking of this, Zhang Chen thought to himself, system. The next moment. Zhang Chen sensed that there were 5 messages attempting to access his body, mind, soul, and everything else. But the unfamiliar ability he controlled easily intercepted. And he can feel it. As long as he is willing, he can always maintain this passive interception. This is the Pan-Human Alliance system, the rule-level talent mentioned. How could you help me intercept the system? Zhang Chen was very shocked and grateful. He is a conspiracy theorist. He believes that there are very few intelligent beings in this world who will give for others without reason. If someone pays the price to you in advance. So, I definitely hope to get something from you. In this world, even the closest parents have a purpose. Or it may be for the inheritance of bloodline surnames, or for the continuation of their existing significance, or it may be for the purpose of elderly care, or it may simply be influenced by the larger environment. Of course, the efforts of most parents in the world are always at the cost of blood. They also know that. So, they are the most selfless within the scope of humanity. Parents treat their children so impure, let alone a system that belongs to the category of strangers. When the Earth is still alive. Zhang Chen enjoys reading online novels. At that time, he was a reader who deliberately ignored the rationality of the system in the novel, just for entertainment. Now, it's his turn to really have the system. Still 5 at once. Then we have to think about the cause and effect. Zhang Chen calmly analyzed the situation. After the Earth exploded, the 5 systems came. 2. The Earth Revenge Alliance system is the least credible. It said it has bestowed upon me extraordinary talents. But the fact is, it was intercepted by my only talent. If I guess correctly, it wants to take credit and replace the existence that truly gave me talent. Earth. 3. The Earth Revenge Alliance was the first to appear, which means that its temporal and spatial distance from the location of the Earth disaster is logically the closest. It also knows that Earth has sent random talents to humans. Based on this inference, this system is aimed at all surviving humans, and it is highly likely to come from the layout of the forces that destroyed the Earth. 4. The last appearance of Earth's will, stare at the truth at a glance, fake. No need to investigate, there is a 99.99% chance that it is counterfeit. And he is also malicious in his heart, wanting to stir up the muddy waters, procrastinate time, and make Earth survivors not believe information from other celestial levels, giving behind-the-scenes time to achieve his goals. 5. The Pan-Human Alliance system may have a certain degree of credibility. Based on the performance of the Earth Revenge Alliance, combined with the order and performance of the 5 systems, as well as the performance of the fake Earth will. Meanwhile, the Pan-Human Alliance system is the only existence that provides valuable information. Let's believe it for now. But it cannot be ruled out that all the above deductions are designed logical traps. Just wait for someone to act smart and take the initiative to jump. In short, maintaining skepticism towards everything is the core principle that I will not die in the future. When a person is in a state of tension, their thinking is extremely fast. Zhang's analysis only takes a few moments. Moreover, while analyzing his own external situation, he is also familiar with the unfamiliar abilities he controls. At this moment, he has roughly grasped the situation of his own abilities. This is a talent-like ability, with the core being the rules of time and space. There are currently 5 main types of information and effects obtained. 1. Time and space. It is the most mysterious resource that has existed on Earth for countless years. 2. Time and space backtracking. Passive skill. At the time of death, a place that can be passed by within the past 24 hours carries memories for resurrection. 3. Prison of time and space. Actively lock onto an area and detach it into a temporary universe. You can manipulate the time and space within this universe at will, stay within it, and never die or perish. 4. Secondary prison of time and space. Derive the laws of time and space, integrate any object, and create a permanent secondary prison of time and space that can be revoked. 5. Infinite time and space. When using time and space series skills, there is no cost. Not bad. Zhang Henshin said, the great power belongs to oneself and has a high fault tolerance rate. Most importantly, compared to systems with unknown history, it is more reassuring. He is quite satisfied with his ability in time and space. Not directly invincible, but also with the most basic sense of security. Therefore, he thought to himself, thank you for the gift from Earth. I'll get up first. Developing in the dark, becoming stronger. In the future, while ensuring my absolute safety, I will uncover the truth and seek revenge for the Earth. Zhang Chen possesses the characteristics of time and space. His thinking is extremely fast. From waking up to this moment, less than 10 moments have passed. Unfortunately, although his physical body, spirit, and soul are imbued with temporal and spatial characteristics, their essence is still a mortal body. So, by now, he was only very conscious, as if in a dream, but everything in the material world, such as his body and 6 senses, had just begun to wake up from his coma. In a daze, Zhang Chen heard 2 unfamiliar voices talking. But he can't understand. Zhang Chen regained his physical condition while eavesdropping on a few more words. I still can't understand. But from a sensory perspective, the language family of these 2 unfamiliar voices is similar to the phonetic writing system of the Western world on Earth. When his physical perception roughly recovered, he opened his eyes and found that his eyes were covered in black cloth, his mouth was still stuffed with unknown fabric, and his hands and feet were tied with rough ropes. He pondered for a moment. Immediately analyzed one's own situation. 1. It is no longer in space beyond Earth. 2. Use black cloth, fabric, and rope to trap oneself, hoping that the trapped person's combat power will not be too outrageous. And he, without encountering the situation of exploding Earth-level combat power. Because it can be resurrected infinitely. He, invincible. So, you can wave freely. Moreover, limiting his unknown existence, since carefully tying him up in this primitive way. I think the combat power is on a similar level to that of ordinary and unsurpassed Earthlings. Even if the other party pulls out a nuclear weapon and explodes him. That doesn't matter either. Being able to resurrect is just so capricious. However, Zhang Chen, who had a cautious personality, did not immediately jump up and face it head-on. 1. His physical body is still an ordinary person, and being killed and resurrected is also painful. 2. He is still an ordinary person, unable to break free from the rope that trapped him. Even if he can break free, he will still pretend to be a pig and eat a tiger. After all, being able to be an old by. Who is willing to be a target? Now a new problem has arisen. Even if he wants to be Voldemort, he can pretend to be a pig and eat a tiger. I can't understand the language here and cannot quickly understand the situation of the world I am in. It makes people feel insecure. We must find a way to solve the language problem immediately. Zhang Chen pondered for a moment. There is a plan in place. If feasible. This plan may not only solve the language problem, but also help him solve many doubts. He spread his thoughts and communicated with others, trying to connect with the pan-human alliance system that was blocked outside his soul. Can we communicate? The pan-human alliance system instantly received feedback, and a voice echoed in his ear. Communication intention detected, permission level 69, up to standard. Activating non-life artificial intelligence modules. Activation successful. Dear Immortal, hello. I am the non-living advanced artificial intelligence equipped in the system. Servant 12333233311024. I will interact with you on behalf of the system. It is my pleasure to serve you. Detected that you are unwilling to interact with the system directly. Do you want to enable in vitro interaction mode Zhang's instantaneous judgment? Extracorporeal operation mode. Safety. He replied, open it. The pan-human alliance system is also an instantaneous feedback, and in front of Zhang Chen's vision, a SCI-filled golden frame appears out of thin air. Nickname. Untitled permission. Level 69 points. 0 realm. Mortal power. Immortal peak. Chapter 2. The Tentacle Monster Vendor and the Succubus. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zhang Chen's inner thoughts spread beyond his soul and asked the Pan-Human Alliance system, where am I? The Pan-Human Alliance system instantly replied, you are currently in the Battle City, Scarlet Town. Zhang Chen asked again, what is the specific world name or the name of the universe? From this level, from top to bottom. The Pan-Human Alliance system said, you are currently in the Return to the Village dimension, Zenith Star, Battle City, and Scarlet Town. Can you explain the dimension of returning to the countryside? Zhang Chen continued to ask. The Pan-Human Alliance system said, the dimension of returning to the countryside is the end of all heavens and realms, the place where all concepts return to the countryside. Zhang Chen frowned and said, tell me more. The Pan-Human Alliance system said, according to the query results with permission level 69, the origin of the Return to the Village dimension is unknown. It is widely believed to be the ultimate destination of all things and a sign of the return of all heavens to the village. However, some famous scholars believe that it is the existence of the Return to the Village dimension that has slowed down the decline of all heavens and all realms, keeping them thriving. Stop. Zhang Chen stopped the nonsense of the Pan-Human Alliance system and asked, who currently dominates the Guishu dimension and which forces are managing it? The Pan-Human Alliance system said, according to the query results with permission level 69, the Guishu dimension is currently dominated by the three saints of Yan, Tai, and Jing, and the management force is the Guishu Council where the three saints are located. Upon hearing these words, Zhang Chen felt at ease. No matter how much the form of this dimension exceeds his cognition. Since there are managers and related forces present, it is at least a place with relative order. Then hurry to thoroughly understand. The matter of returning to the village dimension will be temporarily put aside. His immediate priority is to first deal with his situation of being bound by others. He asked, can you scan the situation of these two people around me? Sorry, this system does not have this feature, said the Pan-Human Alliance system. Introduce your features. Zhang Chen said. The functions of this system are: 1. Search for information about the heavens and worlds within your authority. 2. Through the forum module, you can communicate with the pan-human life of the heavens and all realms. Due to your current location in the Guishu dimension, your forum scope is restricted within the Guishu dimension based on permission level 69. 3. Due to your location in the returning to the market dimension, functions such as shopping malls, tasks, and rewards cannot be accessed. Stop. Zhang Chen stopped the Pan-Human Alliance system and asked, "Can you allow me to communicate with Pan-Human life? There must be a translation module, so please translate the conversation between these two people." As she spoke, Zhang Chen slightly twisted her body, which was tied and lying flat. He moved his fingers and touched the things beneath him, as if lying on a hard board. Then, with the touch of his fingers, he noticed that his fingertips were stained with some viscous liquid, as well as a small amount of particles resembling minced meat, emitting a lingering warmth. Suspected to be at the slaughterhouse. Zhang Chen took a breath and a smell of blood and stench came into his nose. At this moment, the two seemed to have overlooked him or ignored his movements, continuing their conversation. The Pan-Human Alliance system provides real-time translation for Zhang Chen, with the same tone, and intonation. Why has the price increased so much? Didn't it have 5 points before? This voice is full of charm and doubt, coming from Zhang Hen from the top left side. Another rude voice replied, "This person is of top quality from outside." The supplier said it's still a young one. When speaking in a rude voice, Zhang Chen only felt 2 soft stick-like objects and gently patted his kidney parts. Zhang Chen said it doesn't matter, it doesn't hurt anyway. Now, the situation is still a bit unclear, let's take a closer look. Immediately after, he heard the rude voice say, "Who doesn't know in Scarlet Town? If you buy someone back, no matter how robust the male is, it will be sucked into waste for at most 3 days. Your hunger and desire will overflow from your eyes. So, with a fixed price of 8 points, do you like it or not? Okay, you greedy, perverted, despicable tentacle monster." The seductive voice said, "Next time you come to find me, I'll double the price for you. Alright, whether or not to buy, don't let it affect my business. You. Humph. There's a way to get goods from outside, you're still a virgin. You're amazing, you're amazing. Today is tough on you. I took this loss. If it weren't for 7 more days, it would be the deadline for my dead fight arena. I'm just too greedy to buy from you. Open it up and let me see the condition. Even if the price is too high, you can't stop me from inspecting the goods, can you?" The words have just finished. Zhang Chen noticed that his body was covered in countless soft stick-like objects, and his hands and feet were unbound. At this point, Zhang Hen has developed a way to self-unbind and get out of trouble. As long as he integrates the secondary time and space prison into the rope, and then through instability cancels the secondary time and space prison, causing the out-of-control laws of time and space to ravage everywhere, he will be able to burst the rope. Just exploding the rope like this would probably harm his mortal body. He thought to himself, the mortal body greatly limits my ability to use it. When releasing skills, I have to worry about not hurting myself, otherwise I will suffer a pain. I will actively go back and repair the damage. The mortal realm is a serious hindrance to my strength. I need to find a way to improve my realm as soon as possible. He didn't have time to think much before he realized that countless soft stick-like objects were moving up and down against him. Is this to remove his clothes? Immediately after, all the clothes on his body were removed. He was controlled and lifted, spinning around in mid-air. A cold wind blew by, making him feel cold all over, and he decided to continue to endure. Isn't it just exposing the body? Nowadays, it is no longer on Earth. Let go of all the constraints and shame in a civilized and harmonious society. Only in this way can we have the most authentic combat power. Flip over, I'll take a closer look at the back. The seductive voice fell, and Zhang Chen felt like he had been turned about half a circle. "Open your eyes and mouth, let me see." The seductive voice came from behind. "Hello, trouble you don't need these two parts again. I'm a customer now. When you touch the boss to do business, isn't it that you value fixed price and service the most? Hey, okay, who wants me to serve well?" As the rude words fell, Zhang Chen felt the black cloth on his eyes and the fabric in his mouth being removed. The destination is a strange scene. At this moment, he is being controlled in the air by a monster with many wriggling tentacles all over his body. This tentacle monster has a deep red skin that emits a sticky stench. He continued to observe and his gaze shifted downwards. I found myself hanging under a bloody giant chopping board, covered in dried blood and debris. What's even more shocking is that there are two half-cut human-shaped corpses next to it. Finally, he turned his head to look behind him, who was a mature and pure-looking human girl with black hair, white skin, and a three-point figure. Her appearance made Zhang Chen very familiar. Isn't this Jerusalem Tifa in the 3D area? However, the upturned heart-shaped tail behind Tifa revealed her identity. She is a succubus. Chapter 3. Tifa helps me stop lust. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Did I directly explode and use the time and space skill to kill these two people? Or, continue to cling on, play harmless mortals, and be bought away by this enchanting magic technique? Zhang Chen pondered for a moment, and a large number of possibilities were deduced in his heart. He had a choice in his heart. The earth exploded, and I picked up 5 systems. When I woke up, I was already being sold by tentacle monsters here, so no matter what twists and turns or various resellers there were in between. Following the clue of the tentacle monster and searching upwards layer by layer, one will inevitably be able to establish a connection with the powerful ones who have destroyed the earth. However, it's just me in the mortal realm. Just take it easy. Kill the tentacle monster, or use the prison of time and space to interrogate and restore everything in the area, pretending that nothing has happened. Zhang Chen crazily denied this extremely dangerous idea in his heart. What he wants now is development. As for the tentacle monster and the mystery behind it, you can wait a little longer, as the other party may not be able to escape for a while. Then let me practice alone with the succubus first. Try where the limit of my abilities lies. While Zhang Chen pondered. The transaction between the tentacle monster and the succubus has been completed. They raised their left hand, and there was an infinity mark in the palm of their hand. The marks of both sides were aligned across the space, and they operated a few times in the void to complete the transfer transaction of points. Zhang Hen raised his left arm and entered the scene, which made him shudder. His arm, at some point, already had an infinity. This dimension of returning to the village is even more powerful than the system and its rule level, time and space. In Zhang Chen's heart, there was a lot of speculation and he came to a conclusion. Perhaps the position of the Guishu dimension is not very high, it's just that my physical body is in the Guishu dimension and has been forcibly imprinted. His doubts grew more and more in his heart, and he could only helplessly say, if you can't resist, then endure it. After all, there are already 5 systems, so it doesn't matter if you have one more. Moreover, currently it appears that this infinity mark is temporarily harmless at this point. His focus was on the real situation. At this moment, as an ordinary mortal, he has been held in the hands of the enchanting demon Tifa. As Mama Tifa walked, the scenery of this world gradually unfolded in Zhang Hen's eyes. The streets were covered with blood-red stone bricks, and on both sides of the street were stone houses built with blood-red stone bricks. Half of the people walking on the road were various monsters, including goblins, dog-headed humans, zombies, centaurs, spider humans, fox spirits, and pig-headed humans. The remaining intelligent beings were divided into 3 parts. Humans, mechanical beings, and zergs, all of whom looked hurried and walked towards their respective goals. Zhang Hen looked up at the sky, without clouds or the sun, only stars of various sizes scattered throughout the sky, emitting various colors of radiance. In the starry sky and sea, there were still faint spots of light streaking across the Milky Way, and there were even light clusters exploding everywhere, resembling a battlefield. Take a good look, I don't know which shattered world you come from. As a mortal, even if your home planet is gone, you won't die. Before you die, you can still see the scenery of the return of the heavens to the ruins. I don't know if it's fortunate or unfortunate. Oh, I forgot, you can't understand my language. Tifa spoke on his own. Zhang Chen continues to play the role of a harmless mortal. In secret, he communicated that infinity mark with his thoughts. In an instant, a gray attribute box appeared in his mind. Nickname. Untitled points. 0 realm. Mortal competitive countdown. 1 hour. 59 minutes. 23 seconds dead fight countdown. 0 out of 100. Zhang Chen was shocked in his heart. What is this countdown, with less than 2 hours left? Is it that the two monsters said, arena? With this in mind, he quickly communicated with the Pan-Human Alliance system and asked, what is this mark? The Pan-Human Alliance system said, according to the query result of permission level 69, this mark is called arena. If you want to ask what the arena is specifically. Arena is a miraculous phenomenon that is active at the end of the heavenly realms and the return of all concepts, but its traces occasionally appear in the heavenly realms. It is listed as one of the 10 wonders of the heavens. Stop. Don't talk nonsense in the future. Zhang Chen stopped the chatter of the intelligent servants in the Pan-Human Alliance system and asked, what does it mean that I see a countdown? The Pan-Human Alliance system replied, based on the analysis of the content found, this should be the countdown for you to be forcibly pulled into the arena. If your current level is mortal, according to the rules of the arena, you must participate in a battle no later than 5 days. Regardless of the outcome of the battle, you can earn 1 point. Meanwhile, the winners plunder half of the loser's existing points. Zhang Chen doesn't know whether he is now considered the pinnacle of immortality or a mortal in the division of the arena. When the Earth exploded, 5 systems had just been bound. So, this can be used as a measure to calculate how much time he has experienced. He quickly asked, how long has it been since you took the initiative to bind me to the present, in terms of the time of returning to the village dimension? What have I experienced during this period? The Pan-Human Alliance system replied, it has been 1 year and 91 days since the system was bound. If it's only 4 days and 24.2 before you enter the return dimension. Before entering the return to the market dimension, you were in a transport state of being unconscious. During this period, you suddenly died several times, but were all resurrected successfully. In addition, the transport spacecraft you are on only allows you to reach the return dimension alive. You were brought into the return dimension by the storage space. When you first came into contact with the outside world, 2 creatures were trading you, one dressed as a star thief and the other as a tentacle monster. The origin of Zhang Chen is shrouded in suspicion. His current strength cannot be tested. He thought for a moment and realized that focusing on the present is more important. He asked, how many hours are there in a day? Tell me about the time system here. According to the query, the day of returning to the village dimension is 26 hours. An hour has 60 minutes, and a minute has 60 seconds. At present, in the dimension of returning to the countryside, the largest star in the sky, Gongji star, runs for 1 week for 1 year, with October in a year and 6 weeks in each month, with 5 days per week. At this moment, Tifa entered a remote alley with Zhang Chen in hand. There is no one around. Tifa walked more than 10 meters to the end of the alley and opened the door to a small red brick house. Tifa entered the room carrying Zhang's scar. Pop. The door was closed. On the pure face of Tifa, a hungry and thirsty smile appeared. The last bit of fabric on her body fell off on its own and entered a combat state. Zhang Chen immediately launched the prison of time and space. The time and space inside the red brick small house are locked, intercepted from the normal dimension of returning to the countryside, and become a temporary universe. The following plot is indescribable. I can only sigh. Tifa is truly the strongest combat force in the 3D zone. His body is soft and supple, he wields a sword in his waist, attacks the key points in a series of attacks, and his moves capture souls and marrow, taking people's lives. She fought endlessly with Zhang Chen. In the end, mortals were defeated by monsters. Zhang Chen was defeated. But he restarted time and space. Everything returned to the moment when Tifa entered the room with Zhang Chen. A big war is starting again. Mei is truly invincible. Be reluctant to lose. Restart. Defeat it again. Restart. Defeat again. Restart. This time, Zhang Chen took the initiative to launch an attack. Although caught off guard by defeating the Tifa, monsters are monsters, let alone the peak combat power Tifa among monsters. Zhang Chen is a mere mortal, once again squeezed dry. Repeated battles and defeats, repeated defeats and battles. Zhang Chen, with his unwavering determination, gained the most intuitive understanding of his own combat power. Any enemy. As long as the combat power is not as strong as the immortal level, he can stand invincible forever with the help of the prison of time and space. And he not only tested his own combat power. While fighting against the Tifa, he also transformed into a master of learning, resetting himself time and time again through communication with the Pan-Human Alliance system. In reincarnation, endless learning. He knows a lot of information about the dimensions of the heavens, the world, and the return to the countryside. Finally, his liver was tired and he was also tired. He plans to quit lust. Restart again. As a mortal, Zhang Jian is still powerless to resist the attack of monsters. As he numbly endured and fought back, he tentatively asked the Pan-Human Alliance system, a few questions ago, I asked about the time of the return dimension. The Pan-Human Alliance system replied, sorry, based on your level 69 permissions, I am unable to answer what you said. If you mean, how many hours are there in a day? Let's talk about the question of time base here. Didn't you just ask for a while? Chapter 4. I am now the master. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zhang Chen heard the answer from the Pan-Human Alliance system. Suddenly, I realized in my heart that the system had also been reset. But his brow furrowed even deeper. Permission again. In the endless cycle of reincarnation, Zhang Chen had many questions that were also rejected by the Pan-Human Alliance system due to insufficient permissions. Zhang Chen continued to learn a large amount of information from the Pan-Human Alliance system while enduring the bullying from the Tifa. He transformed into the Liver Emperor. So it has been reincarnated hundreds of millions of times. Completely quit lust successfully. Restart the universe once again. He asked the Pan-Human Alliance system, who are the other four systems, the masterminds behind the scenes. The Pan-Human Alliance system replied, based on the query results with permission level 69. Who is the mastermind behind the Earth's Revenge Alliance system? Your current permissions are insufficient to query. Who is the mastermind behind the scenes in the Zhu Tian Mercenary Guild? Your current permissions are insufficient to query. The mastermind behind the Pantheon is the Heavenly Tao Alliance. What is the identity of the mastermind behind Chao Wei Communication Company? Your current permissions are insufficient to query. Zhang Chen was delighted in his heart. He thought that the origins of the four systems were the same as those of the behind-the-scenes controllers who had previously inquired about the Pan-Human Alliance system. Due to insufficient permissions, he could not obtain any results. He just casually asked with the intention of trying without any cost. Unexpectedly, something was actually discovered. He quickly asked, tell me more about the Heavenly Way Alliance. According to the query results with permission level 69, Heavenly Tao Alliance, is one of the highest organizations in the various heavens and realms, initiated by the Great Thousand World Heavenly Tao and joined by the Middle Thousand World Heavenly Tao and the Small Thousand World Heavenly Tao. Other information cannot be accessed due to insufficient permissions. Zhang Chen thought for a moment and asked, what are the strongest organizations in all the heavens and realms? It's best to have a ranking. According to the query results, there are 5 strongest organizations in the Tianwan realm, ranking in no particular order. From the perspective of returning to rural areas, the Returning to Rural Council, a forever neutral pan-human alliance system, super-dimensional communication company, which advocates freedom, only accept the Heavenly Way's Heavenly Way Alliance, the Heavenly Mercenary Guild, where the strong are respected. Zhang Chen was stunned. He is actually related to these 5 strongest organizations in the heavens and all worlds. From a first-hand experience. At present, perhaps the strongest arena is related to the Returning Market Council. The other 4 systems were all blocked by his space-time. At least the part that actively came to bind him was successfully intercepted. And in the arena, it is probably because he is in the dimension of returning to the ruins and has been greatly influenced, unable to isolate himself from the world as a mortal. He can only be invaded by his physical body and a small amount of soul shell. It's just a mere shell of the soul. Among all the heavens and realms, there are methods to drive them away. Stop researching, restart. Zhang Zhan's mind twitched, and the entire world of Little Red Brick House was once again restarted. Based on billions of restarts. He is already aware of the power of the prison of time and space. As long as he is in the prison of time and space, no matter how long he experiences it, the outside world will never reach the next moment. For example, he has reincarnated hundreds of millions of times here. The forum content of the Pan-Human Alliance system is static. The time displayed in Arena, Super-Dimensional Communication Company, All-Sky Mercenary Guild, Pantheon, and Earth Revenge Alliance system, is always reset successfully with reincarnation. In Zhang's view, these systems are probably in a single machine state. Not connected to its most powerful ontology. The most magical thing is, even in the future of the prison of time and space, he released his soul shell, allowing the Pan-Human Alliance system, the Superdimensional Communication Company, the Celestial Mercenary Guild, the Pantheon, and the Earth's Revenge Alliance system to operate directly on the surface of his soul. Once the prison of time and space restarts, these systems are also in an unbound state. As for, let the systems touch his true spirit and perform real binding operations. He always refuses. Even in the arena, it was just forcibly bound to his soul shell. His true spirit has completely merged with time and space. Having the right to refuse everything from outside. The only regret is that after the restart of the prison of time and space, only his true spirit carried memories. The physical body, spirit, soul, etc. are all reset and viewed without any gain. So, for the cultivation acceleration effect of the prison of time and space. The test can only be conducted next time when there are no outsiders present. In short, the most powerful aspect of the prison of time and space is, as long as Zhang Chen is willing, he can endure forever in this isolated universe. But the outside world has not even arrived for the next moment. This time, because he carried too little information and resources to enter the prison of time and space, and there was an external demon named Tifa here. The test can only end here. Zhang Chen once again restarted the entire world of Little Red Brick House. At the next moment, he lifted the lock of time and space in the Little Red Brick House from the prison of time and space. Tifa, once again with a pure face, showed a hungry and thirsty smile. The last bit of fabric on her body fell off on its own and entered a combat state. In the next moment, Zhang Jian pointed out that the temporal and spatial area in front of him was locked. The prison of time and space is once again launched. Tifa has been imprisoned in a new prison of time and space. This time, because Zhang Chen is in the outside world. So, the velocity of time and space within the prison of time and space remains consistent with the outside world. Zhang Chen quickly stepped forward, reached out to pick up the fabric dropped by the Melons technique, and activated the secondary time and space prison, integrating the derived time and space laws into it. In the next moment, a new space-time was added to the fabric that still carried the body temperature of the demon, and its size was set to a spherical space-time with a radius of 100 meters according to Zhang Chen's intention. Great, my practice in the prison of time and space was not in vain. Although there is only memory left, hundreds of millions of exercises have enabled me to master and use various skills to the pinnacle. Zhang Chen's thoughts moved, and the secondary prison of time and space inside the fabric exploded steadily. The fabric in his hand dissipated in the air, completely extinguished by the overflowing power of the laws of time and space. However, his hand was not injured at all. This is the result that Zhang Hen has achieved in billions of reincarnations. He began to search for supplies inside the small red brick house. He found a set of clothes, but he didn't know if it was left behind by a human who had died from a demon before. Zhang Hen doesn't care if it looks good or not, he just makes do with it and puts it on. Then, he found a regular silver bracelet and opened up a space called the secondary time and space prison, which he put on his left wrist to store the looted items. He searched around and found nothing useful except for some food that humans can eat. Through billions of reincarnations, diligent learning, Zhang Chen has completely become the most knowledgeable group among all the heavens and realms. He knew that it was normal for the supplies in the small red brick house of Tifa to be so scarce. Within the dimension of returning to the countryside, no one will store too much supplies or accumulate points. Because no matter how much you save, it's just someone else's warehouse. Once defeated or killed by others, resources are the winners. In the dimension of returning to the countryside, the will of the strong dominates everything. Think of it here. Zhang Chen had a choice in his heart. After all, although Tifa helped him quit his lust hundreds of millions of times. However, in reality, he is still a virgin. After all, he has reset everything. The events within the prison of time and space are naturally illusory like a dream. So, there is not much causal relationship between him and Tifa. It's just a stranger we just met. The only relationship is between the owner and the goods. Previously, he was the cargo, and Tifa was the owner. Now he is the master, and the succubus is the cargo. Zhang Chen's attention returned to the prison of time and space. Tifa, after a brief moment of shock, has come to understand her own situation. She has encountered a strong person who pretends to be a pig and eats a tiger. At this moment, she was kneeling on the ground, trying her best to show her charm in her movements and shouting, "Unknown powerful existence, I still have value in existence. You see, I can transform in various ways, and being your cup must be qualified." I saw that the Tifa constantly changes her image in the prison of time and space, some of which are not found in Earth's film and television works, such as noble angels, resolute female warriors, luxurious magicians, lazy elves, and majestic empresses. There are also some characters from Earth anime works, such as Medusa, Yun Yun, Hashi, Qilin, Li Hani, Wang Xiling, Yan Lingji, Yun Shi, no. Zhang Chen was puzzled in his heart, why does Melons know so much about the characters in Earth's anime? In an instant, countless possibilities flashed through his heart. Finally, he asked the Pan-Human Alliance system, explain the Earth. Chapter 5. Continuously challenge your limits. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The Pan-Human Alliance system replied, Earth, one of the 10 wonders of the heavens and the world, has an unknown cause. However, over time, various types of Earth appear more and more near the return dimension. Famous scholar Lu He believes that the Earth is likely to have formed a wonderful stability under the projection of forces from the heavens and the world. At the same time, due to its miraculous way of birth, most of the rules and regulations on Earth are extremely firm and cannot be practiced. Zhang Chen solved his curiosity in his heart. He continued the unfinished experiment before. He had a sudden thought, and within the body of the succubus in the prison of time and space, there was an additional, secondary prison of time and space. And Zhang Yan can sense that he can hand over the second-level permission of this secondary time and space prison to Melons Tifa. That is to say, I can treat the secondary prison of time and space as a gift, give it to others, and constantly control and cancel it at any time. With a sudden thought, Zhang Chen entered the prison of time and space. The time and space within the prison of time and space begin to flow independently. And the external time and space enter a relative absolute stillness. Melons Tifa, upon seeing Zhang's appearance, immediately pounced forward and knelt down on the ground, trying to showcase his charm with all his movements. He shouted, "Unknown powerful existence, I still have value in existence. You see, I can transform in various ways, and being your cup is definitely qualified." After speaking, she kept changing her image. Firstly, her figure suddenly became tall and snow-white, with golden hair cascading down like a waterfall, and behind her grew a pair of pure white wings. She smiled and said, "Are you still satisfied with the big shot? If you're not satisfied, I can continue to change. I have mastered thousands of high-quality female characters with different styles and temperament. Many of them look like strong figures in the small and medium worlds. If the isolation effect of the big shots in this world is good enough, I cannot change the projection of female strong figures in the big world. Although I didn't dare before, I have practiced many times in my heart, big shot." "Shut up, I want to know, why don't you resist? Respected and powerful, you must be an outsider. In the dimension of returning to the countryside, for someone like me with low combat power, the most important survival rules are two. First, never resist, and second, seek refuge with the strong." As Melons spoke, she transformed into several seemingly thin and weak figures such as Li Hani and Wang Xiling, making men more protective. She attempted to prove her worth. Zhang Chen looked indifferent and asked, "As far as I know, in the dimension of returning to the countryside, killing not only earns the most basic points, but also half of the deceased's property. How did you survive in this way?" Zhang Chen believes that order in chaos is extremely unreliable. If an accident occurs once, the weak will undoubtedly die. The succubus only dares to sigh in its heart, the strong do not know the difficulties of the weak, the helplessness for survival, and the diversity in this world. She explained, without resistance, there is still a possibility of survival. Rebellion will surely lead to death. In addition, according to the definition of the arena, as long as someone bleeds during a battle, the competition is considered complete. We succubus have talent, and once we sleep, the membrane will be restored. So, many people spend points to compete with me. I will hand over most of the points I earn to the strong ones who protect this street. Thanks to the protection of the strong, I was fortunate enough to live in Scarlet Town for more than 10 years." After Melons finished speaking, Zhang Chen remained indifferent and asked, "What is the realm of protecting your strong one?" When Melons saw this mysterious powerhouse, he finally asked her support and quickly replied, "It's the deputy mayor of Scarlet Town. 100 miles hard, practicing the power of returning to the countryside. His uncle also practices the power of returning to the countryside, and he's a big shot in Baijian City." Upon hearing this, Zhang Chen instantly understood the meaning of Melons' deliberate emphasis on cultivating the power of returning to the countryside. Previously, he reincarnated hundreds of millions of times and worked hard to quit lust. During this period, he learned a lot of information about cultivation, realm, direction, and the dimension of returning to the countryside. He knew the essence of the cultivation of all beings in the heavens and all realms, and had a preliminary summary. However, although he believed the information from 5 systems, he did not fully believe it. Zhang Chen asked Melons, "Can you tell me what the power of returning to the countryside is?" Upon hearing this, Melons was puzzled by the mysterious powerhouse's question. How could you, such a strong person, still ask such basic questions? She doesn't understand, but she doesn't dare to think too much. Consider it a test of her obedience by a mysterious powerhouse. Mei-Ma thought for a moment and felt that the mysterious powerhouse was asking her this question, which was a good thing. Give her a chance to showcase more charm. She doesn't believe it anymore. As long as it's a male human, there's still something she can hold back under the attack of high beauties with different styles and temperament. She transformed with a small excited expression into a black silk figure wearing glasses and a uniform, and explained in a seductive tone with an ascetic demeanor. To understand the power of returning to the countryside, one must first understand the orthodox order of cultivation. I don't know how it is divided elsewhere. But in the dimension of returning to the countryside, because it gathers sentient beings from various heavens and realms, with various cultivation systems, some strong individuals divide the path before becoming immortal true gods into 5 major stages based on the essence of cultivation. At this point, Mei-Ma saw that although the mysterious powerhouse still had a cold expression on his face, he was still listening attentively. Suddenly, I had more confidence in the power of my own charm in my heart. She pushed her black-framed glasses and transformed into the pure appearance of JK Girls High School in a super short skirt. With an innocent face, she recited the text and said, "At level 0, in the mortal stage, the only way out is to awaken. Only by breaking free from dependence on external things, becoming independent, and gaining extraordinary power from a legal perspective, can one truly awaken. This awakening belongs to the innate level. In the various heavens and realms, the forms of expression are different, and the terms are also different, such as spiritual roots, powers, talents, magical induction, spiritual power, extraordinary meridians, acupoints, gateways, innate talismans, martial souls, and so on. After reciting the information of level 0 mortals, Mei-Ma even used a super short skirt to look innocent like JK Girls High School. She timidly glanced at Zhang Yin, attempting to arouse his compassion. Subsequently, she changed her image again, becoming fiery with red lips and seductive eyes, but her clothes were torn and she looked like she had been rubbed and abused. She continued, "Level 0 is mortal, but no matter what kind of life, as long as you successfully awaken at the innate level, you can enter level 1 to control and develop your own abilities. In the various celestial realms, the first level is also known as the Qi refining realm, awakening realm, transcendence realm, formal wizard, mage, and ancestral martial arts realm. Zhang Chen has undergone hundreds of millions of abstinence attempts, and his inner strength is as solid as a rock. The mere tricks of the demon in front of him are useless. However, he still wants to continue trying his limits. After all, the previous billions of reincarnations and abstinence were based on a single Tifa appearance. He is worried that the effect is not good enough. Must be upgraded and strengthened. Unfortunately, he is just an ordinary person, and once he has deep contact with the succubus, it will expose his mortal nature. I can only satisfy my craving with my eyes. If there is a chance in the future, catch a few succubus demons who are still from the mother and fetus, lock them in the secondary time and space prison, carry them with you, and let them learn various earth knowledge inside, imitate the goddesses and fairies of various worlds, and then help them quit lust. He must persevere on the path of abstinence, constantly challenge his own limits. Chapter 6. Complete the 100 variations of the demon trial. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Mei-Ma's hair was disheveled, looking as if it had been rubbed and abused. She had a mournful expression, her hands trembling in front of her, pulling on the torn tight-fitting clothes. The next moment, the succubus has changed again. She was tightly wrapped all over, dressed in a pure white and noble nun robe, with golden hair coiled up and a cross hanging on her chest. She held thick books in her hands, making her look sacred and inviolable. She held herself high and aloof, with a cold expression, yet her eyes were filled with a hint of compassion. She looked at Zhang Chen with a detached and vulgar temperament, and continued to explain slowly. Stage 2, in the various heavens and realms, is known as building foundations, magic guides, great wizards, and so on. After the first stage of improvement, the innate abilities of sentient beings have been elevated to their limits. In stage 2, what needs to be done is to continue to expand the potential and upper limit of innate abilities beyond this limit. Zhang Chen's expression remained indifferent, but he also spoke up and asked, "What are the directions for expansion?" The nun Mei Ma opened the thick book in her hand and pretended to read it, then a hint of abnormality suddenly appeared on her cold and aloof face. It is obvious that she is acting in love. Entered a certain indescribable plot state with great dedication. With a hint of unwillingness and hunger in her tone, she gasped and said, "Master, the expansion direction of innate abilities can be divided into three categories. Firstly, using innate abilities as the core. To enhance the same attributes, with a focus on purity. Secondly, with innate abilities as the core, build a stable system where 1 + 1 is greater than 2, but this path is only suitable for living beings in various heavens and realms with a background to walk. It is almost impossible for us, who have already fallen into the rural dimension. Thirdly, if you are not satisfied with the initial innate ability, plan for another type of innate ability with great potential, preferably involving rules." As for the original ability, it becomes an auxiliary position. After speaking, she saw that Zhang Chen's reaction to the nun and the plot play was average, and then she shook her body. The nun emitted pink smoke all over her body, waiting for the smoke to dissipate. She was pink in color, elegant and charming. Her fox ears were small and delicate, gently pressed against her head, occasionally moving. Her watery big eyes were full of temptation, and she coquettishly said, "Master, for the expansion of stage 2, the little slave knows these things. Do you need the little slave to continue talking about stage 3? Zhang Chen responded coldly, "In the third stage, extraordinary power feeds back life, gradually evolving the essence of life. Practitioners, as their practice deepens, become the most perfect and flawless form on the racial level. This realm is actually very famous in the heavens and realms, and is often referred to as the Golden Elixir or Legend. As the enchanting fox spoke, the 9 tails behind her swayed in the air like pink ripples. They intertwined and suddenly dispersed, revealing her emotions. Continue. Stage 4, Dominant Level. Breaking the upper limit of life evolution, allowing life to no longer be limited to matter, energy, and spirit, starting to break free from molecular, atomic, and material dependencies, until it is completely eliminated. At this point, Mei Ma has transformed into a Buddha Yuan, with natural makeup, not heavy, simple clothing, and not gorgeous. The hairstyle is simple, the eyes are clear and bright, as if you can see through the distractions. The skin is smooth and delicate, with a natural luster. She had a dignified and elegant demeanor, graceful posture, and light movements. She approached Zhang Chen step by step and said, at the peak of her reign, she has lived for thousands of years. How enviable! Zhang Chen stared coldly at the creation of Mei Ma. Mei Ma changed into a new Taoist robe, cold and noble, and continued, in the 5th level, returning to the One Realm, it has been classified as a combination, crossing calamity, half god, half immortal, half demon, star level, black hole level, and so on. At this stage, I only heard about it. It is probably that life attempts to refine falsehood into reality, and the physical, spiritual, and energy trends become unified, transforming into half elemental, half divine, and the 4 great unified forces. Those who return to their peak will live 100,000 years. Zhang Chen pushed away the enchanting demon attempting to entangle. She now plays the role of a sect saint who is poisoned with acacia. Zhang Judao said, "Speak of the power of returning to the countryside." Mei Ma saw that she had used all her skills, yet she had not yet allowed the mysterious powerhouse to enter a hard state of desire. She was somewhat discouraged. But I also have to sigh in my heart. Truly a strong person. His moral heart is so hard. She transformed into a wild and unrestrained red-clad heroine and said boldly, "The 5 stages of cultivation just now were all focused on the cultivation of the righteous path. The power of returning to the countryside happens to be the opposite. Those who return to the countryside do not practice laws and regulations, nor condense the void dharma body. They directly rely on the return to the countryside dimension to cultivate the power of returning to the countryside. This is a brand new power. Next, Meima continues to play various female roles, attempting to prove her worth on Zhongjie. The content in her mouth is basically consistent with what Zhang Chen learned through 5 systems. The power of returning to the countryside and the dimension of returning to the countryside are collectively known as one of the 10 wonders of the heavens and the world. The power of returning to the ruins can be seen as an enhanced version of fusion upgrades such as the kill rule, destruction rule, devotion rule, and annihilation rule. The cultivation of the power of returning to the countryside must be achieved through killing, destruction, devouring, and other means to please the dimension of returning to the countryside, thereby increasing the power of returning to the countryside. And one of the 10 wonders of the universe, the arena, is also closely related to it. In short, the cultivation method of returning to the countryside emphasizes a simple and rough approach. In the dimension of returning to the countryside, 90% of people practice this power. Meima has emphasized so many times that her backer cultivates the power of returning to the countryside. The underlying message is that she has integrated into the local system of the returning to the countryside dimension, and is a person with a protective umbrella. Kill her, pull her hair and move her whole body. She couldn't help but start thinking more about Zhang Chen's silence. She was both afraid of the mysterious powerhouse in front of her and couldn't understand the underlying lines in her words. But I dare not speak out openly, afraid of having a counterproductive effect, which will lead to endless silencing. However, to her disappointment, the mysterious powerhouse remained indifferent and unmoved. I have a chance here, do you want to give it a try? Zhang Chen said in a cold voice. This. Meima really wants to say that she doesn't want any chance, just let her go and let her live. She has been in the returning to the countryside dimension for more than 10 years and has read many anime and novels from Earth, knowing the truth that pie never falls from the sky. In general, if big shots give away opportunities, it is often not for the purpose of conducting experiments or for other purposes. In the current situation, is the mysterious powerhouse giving her a chance? Obviously not a good thing. But does she dare to refuse? Although the person in front of me looks like an ordinary person. But many big shots have a bad taste and enjoy disguising themselves as weak, ordinary, and cute. This mysterious powerhouse not only has a hard heart, but also can drag her into a small world without any resistance, which is the most intuitive proof of the opponent's strength. You should know that in the dimension of returning to the mortal realm that can suppress all non-returning forces, one can open up a small world at will, and the other party is also a god level or above powerhouse. With this in mind, Meima hurriedly said, actually, I'm not greedy at all. I just want to live on. If the boss insists on giving, I will obey. Very good. Zhang Chen praised and granted the second-level permission of the secondary time and space prison inside the Meima's body to her, saying, give it a try. I saw the demonic spirit stiffen and then show a hint of joy. Surprisingly, it's a storage space ability. Master, you're amazing. In the dimension of returning to the countryside, points can be exchanged from the arena for the vast majority of resources and the cultivation path of returning to the countryside. The only way to cultivate is through equipment and non-returning power, which the arena does not provide. It can only rely on large forces to transport from the outside world. Meima happily said, the value of any equipment here is much higher than that of the heavens and realms outside the dimension. Space storage equipment is even more expensive. She is so happy, naturally because of the mysterious immortal level strong. Since she was given such valuable abilities, I don't think we should kill her immediately. But the next moment, the succubus thought of some plot. The big shot delivering things often there is no loss, and there are many calculations involved. Thinking of this, she felt a sudden surge in her heart. However, her smile remained on her face and she coquettishly said, Master, you are so kind to me. I was so moved that my whole body was soft. How can I repay you? Chapter 7. Murder and Testimony. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Zhang Chen is silently observing the compatibility between Meimao and the second time and space prison. It can only be said to be perfect. The secondary prison of time and space generates a subtle power of time and space, which does not conflict with the demonic power within her body at all. Just as Meimao was feeling uneasy inside, she kept changing various forms, trying to seduce Zhang Yin with beauty and prove her value. Zhang Chen suddenly asked again, is there a place in Scarlet Town that sells spatial cultivation methods or supernatural potions? Meimao is very puzzled by Zhang Chen's problem. However, she always likes to ask some very basic questions about this mysterious powerhouse and has become accustomed to it. Just treat her as a mysterious powerhouse once again and test her obedience. She quickly and honestly replied, there is a tall tower at the westernmost point of Scarlet Town, and the lobby on the first floor of the tower sells some things beyond the dimensions. It is the most comprehensive place in the town that sells strange things, but the prices are not cheap. Zhang Chen responded with a sound. He thought for a moment, and by this point, the living succubus had no other value. It's still easier to kill. Especially, Meimao also involved the massive local cultivation of the returning to the countryside power, and was aware of Zhang Chen's unique performance. Once exposed, it can be very troublesome. After all, he is still an ordinary person. So, Zhang Chen's mind suddenly moved. Time and space prison, reset. He withdrew from the prison of time and space, with a sudden thought that he was still in a bewildered demon with an additional, secondary prison of time and space, in his body. Very good, still perfectly integrated. Zhang Chen's thought suddenly triggered the explosion of the second time and space prison. Meimao Tifa has died. The dead bones are gone. Meimao, are you dead? I'm completely dead. With a sudden thought, Zhang Chen restarted the prison of time and space. The succubus has been resurrected. But it hasn't been completely resurrected. Only a body full of desire survived. The field of life is too mysterious. It's not him now, he can delve deeper into it. With a sudden thought, Zhang Chen revoked the prison of time and space, and the succubus maintained its Tifa-like physical form, returning to reality. At this moment, the infinity mark on his arm conveys information to his mind. Zhang Chen did not use time and space to intercept. In his mind, a gray attribute box from the arena popped up. Defeat level 1 and level 2 enemies to earn 12 points. Kill 1 enemy and earn 24 points. Nickname. Untitled points. 36 Realm. Mortal countdown to competition. 4 days. 25 hours. 59 minutes. 59 seconds. Dead fight countdown. 1 out of 100. At the same time, Zhang Chen also received some information about the arena, which he had already learned through the Pan-Human Alliance system in hundreds of millions of abstinence attempts. For example, if you complete a timed competitive battle before the countdown to the competition is completed, you will be pulled into the death arena in advance. Once entering the arena of death, only one person can come out alive. Zhang Chen communicated the infinity mark on his arm and opened the arena mall. 1 month's worth of daily necessities package, 1 point, 100 energy bars, 1 integral, 100 bottles of pure water, 1 point, 1 random power awakening potion, 100 points, the power of returning to the countryside is 1 thread, with 100 points. He quickly browsed through the shops that could be seen in the mortal realm, and the products were too cramped, there was nothing inside that he wanted. Zhang Chen closed the arena mall and cleaned up the small red brick house. As for the succubus body, he thought for a moment and collected the silver storage bracelet in his left hand. In any case, it is also the body of a first-order monster. Whether it's for selling money or for other purposes, it has some value. Wasting is shameful. Zhang Chen left a small red brick house and casually closed the door. There is still no one in the alley. He breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. No one is the luckiest. Otherwise, as a man in the mortal stage, he would come out of the demon's house. If seen by the demon's neighbors, even a fool would know it was abnormal. Whether it's rushing up to silence or letting go, it will inevitably increase the probability of being known by local forces. Although Zhang Chen is not afraid of any trouble below the immortal level. If there is an attack, kill it. However, in a world where great power belongs to oneself, it is very easy to defeat the small, attract the old, kill the old, and then attract the protective umbrella behind it, endless and endless. When reading novels on Earth, Zhang Chen felt that this kind of plot, boring me to death. This kind of battle scenario has no actual benefits except for the show. There is still a very small possibility, it really involves an unbeatable existence. In short, reality is not a novel. The most important thing for Zhang Chen at present is only one thing. Seize the time and elevate your level. He quickly left the alley and walked towards the west of Scarlet Town. Zhang Chen has no knowledge of Scarlet Town. After all, although he abstained from lust hundreds of millions of times in reincarnation, the information he received about the return dimension from the Pan-Human Alliance system is relatively high-end and long-lasting. A small crimson town, its name and its influence will inevitably change every few years or even a decade with the rise and fall of the extraordinary. The Pan-Human Alliance system, which is in a disconnected state from the main system, cannot provide Zhang Chen with the latest information about Scarlet Town. Zhang Chen walked while checking the forum interface of the Pan-Human Alliance system. The forum is divided into 4 major modules, namely Zhutian Forum, Regional Forum, Information Inquiry, Personal Permissions. The Zhutian Forum is gray, after all, it is in the dimension of returning to the countryside, making it difficult to connect with the various heavens and realms. When accessing information and personal permissions, Zhang Chen had already used them billions of times when he was offline. He clicked on the Regional Forum. Regional forums are further divided into 4 regional sub-modules. They are Guishu Dimension, Zenith Star, Baijian City District, and Scarlet Town. Zhang Chen looked at the name Zenith Star and felt a momentary discomfort. Unexpectedly, everyone else is no longer on Earth, and one can still see Westerners singing birds. He will become stronger in the future. Invincible here. It is necessary to seize the position of the Star Master of this birdman. He wants to change the name of the planet under his feet into Chinese characters. Zhang Chen opened the Crimson Town Hell Forum. This is a very concise forum, similar to the early Earth Forum, without any advertisements. He glanced at the post, and the titles were Top Up. Warning to cute new humans, stay away from Demon Goddess. Despair, almost 2 layers of dead fighting, save me. Hurry up, the secret about the tentacle monster in the town center. Brothers, how many people are from Earth? I plan to transfer the power of returning to the countryside, seeking guidance. Zhang Chen did not read these posts. But instead, find a post called Detailed Introduction to Scarlet Town. Quickly read this post. He understood his position and thought to himself, the original location where tentacle monsters and enchanters reside is on the east side of town. If you want to go to the westernmost mage tower in town, the quickest way is to pass through the center of town. Nevertheless, this is still a long journey. Although Zhang Chen has time and space, he cannot teleport yet. He went to the mage tower this time to purchase skills and pass them on. Because currently located to the east of Scarlet Town. This belongs to a civilian area, with few pedestrians on the road. Zhang Jian has very few novel opportunities to see monsters from other worlds. He was bored rushing on the road. He started browsing the forum of the Pan-Human Alliance system and first clicked on the top post to browse. This post belongs to the enthusiastic beginner's note post, mainly reminding novice humans who have just entered the returning to the countryside dimension, not to experience it just because of the bizarre XP or because monsters such as succubus can transform into popular characters in Earth's film and television works. According to incomplete statistics, deep communication with monsters is the main cause of death for male novice humans. No one. The post also pointed out. Perhaps because of the returning to the countryside dimension system, it belongs to the strong paradise of the jungle law. If the weak are here and there are no adventures, it is indeed easy to fall into despair. Then, in despair, the male becomes a new human, and when emotions arise, the impulse becomes unbearable. I will choose to find monsters and enjoy myself to death. So. The author of the post warns novice humans to manage their emotions well in daily life and cultivation. As for human compatriots who are so desperate that they want to commit suicide, they can go to the poster. The poster said, "Everyone is human, he can help if he can." Then, the nickname of the post publisher is grayed out. This means that the poster has died. Zhang Chen continued to click on other posts. He involuntarily chose Speed Forward, the secret of the tentacle monster in the town center. After all, he also felt that there must be a secret on the tentacle monster that sold him. As a result, he clicked in and realized that this post was just a headline party, and the content was actually a human. He probably received money from the tentacle monster boss and came to the forum to boast that although the tentacle monster boss's things were more expensive, the quality was good, and as long as the price was appropriate, it could help with anything. Zhang Chen exits the post and clicks on the forum search box. Search for, where can I sell spatial cultivation methods or power potions in Scarlet Town? According to search results, a large number of posts provide overlapping locations. Our fellow humans are all the first to recommend the Mage Tower to the west of Scarlet Town. At present, the reputation of this Mage Tower is quite good. Zhang Chen began to have some expectations for this Mage Tower in his heart. He also doesn't know whether wizards really follow the rumored principle of equivalent exchange. Chapter 8. Rushing, eating melons, getting up in chaos. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zhang Chen continued on his journey. At this moment, he had left the eastern area of Scarlet Town and was approaching the center of the town. Various creatures from various heavens and realms were gradually increasing. Along the way, the majority of beings in the mortal stage were present. Zhang Chen is also an ordinary person, walking not fast or slow, mixed in and not conspicuous. Zhang Hen has gone through billions of cycles of abstinence and lust. He is already proficient in the languages of most civilizations and races in the heavens and realms, and he can understand the cries of vendors along the way. Sell people, cut 50 in half, take all 80. Fresh, I just killed it and brought it back from the death fight arena. The highest quality of level 1 is sold by the pound. A top-quality 100 forged iron sword, engraved with the rune of returning to the countryside, 90% new. Let you better survive in the battle of death, pass by, don't miss it. The clan girl is selling meat. Although we don't have the first night's blood of the succubus, we are safe. We can also get injured and let customers have a countdown to the competition. As Zhang Chen walked on the road, the information she had just seen in the introduction post about Scarlet Town flashed through her heart. There are approximately 300,000 living beings in the entire Scarlet Town. Among them, humans account for 1/6, about 50,000. And of these 50,000 people, 1/3 come from various Earths, 1/3 come from various other human worlds, and 1/3 are semi-human species such as werewolves, cats, and rabbits. Zhang Chen walked while diving and peeking at the forum screen. The atmosphere of the forum is very good, giving a feeling of browsing the Earth. In a daze, he seemed to have found the time on Earth again. The leisurely feeling of bowing down and playing with mobile phones on the way. However, the various monsters, humanoids, mechanical creatures, and zergs that passed by all reminded him that this was not a cosplay anime festival, but a true foreign world, the end of all worlds. The returning village dimension. Especially in the starry sky above, the colorful and towering stars, along with the radiance of battles, constantly remind Zhang Chen. This is no longer the Earth. Half the way, Zhang Heng gradually walked out of the town center. From the front, there were noisy curses. Zhang Chen quickly approached and saw two groups of people in the center of the town official road, one group and one widow, facing each other off. As he approached, both sides had already started fighting. I saw a tiger-headed man carrying a refined iron big knife, with a few cat-headed men and little brothers. The big knife was raised high and charged towards a group of wolf-headed people. Dare to take your tiger grandfather's territory and seek death. Brothers, let me kill you. The voice of the tiger-head man was loud, appearing majestic and domineering. His big sword swung unstoppably, instantly chopping down two wolf-head men. This is the first time Zhang Heng has seen a battle of extraordinary power and finds it very interesting. Especially, they used the power of returning to the ruins, and when they released their power, a gray-black glow wrapped around the weapon and struck with a single blow. Apart from the same force of returning to the countryside, there is nothing else that can stop it. Zhang Chen couldn't help but slow down his pace. It's not that he has any bad intentions or wants to pick up leaks. He just wants to see how ordinary superhumans fight. The battles of the extraordinary are very swift, and in just a few breaths, they have come and gone back and forth, battling many times. Zhang Chen's eyes were shrouded in remnants. Even if he tries to see it, he can only see a rough form. However, the general situation of the war was very clear, but the situation was like a landslide, and the wolf-headed people were knocked over by the tiger-headed people. The tiger-head people are about to win. Suddenly, the cat-headed man following closely behind the tiger-headed man stabbed him in the heart with a backhand. Not to mention the tiger-headed person, there is no trace of defense. Even the wolf-headed people, who were enemies, were greatly surprised. What's the situation? Is the cat alone? Who bought it, Nyobi? They didn't go to incite the cat-head man. Cats and tigers have such similar forms, which is obviously not easy to counter, so they did not try. But unexpectedly, the cat-headed person suddenly became neurotic and self-attacked his boss, the tiger-headed person. After a slight pause, the werewolves immediately became ecstatic. This is a combination of chi and energy, what else is there to say? Kill. 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 Cut. Kill. Seize women. The morale of the wolf-headed people skyrocketed, and the strength of returning to the countryside wrapped in gray and black weapons became even stronger. They directly used 2 or 3 knives to kill the tiger-headed people. The dagger dripped with the blood of the tiger-headed man and the cat-headed man, but with one strike it retreated silently, avoiding the tiger-headed man's dying counterattack. It wasn't until the complete death of the tiger-head man that it leisurely approached and made 3 cuts to its head and chest. He also used his left heart with the dagger logo, facing the body of the tiger-headed man, stopping and seemingly recording or taking photos. It's a person from the Dark Knight, probably arranged by spending points on it. The werewolves were discussing it one after another. Clean up miscellaneous soldiers, speed up and hunt for points. These werewolves roared and crazily attacked the onlookers around them. Even the assassin, the cat-headed man, who jumped back suddenly, was cut to death on the spot. Zhang Chen, out of caution, hid in the crowd of onlookers. Seeing that the situation was not right, he quickly retreated behind the crowd. He felt a sense of retreat in his heart, but he didn't know where to run. Looking at the posture of the wolf people, there is a rhythm of chopping them all to death, regardless of the severity of the situation. The places close to the town center are so chaotic. Can there be any other good places in Scarlet Town? By now, even if he hides in the red brick small house of the succubus and doesn't come out, he may still be attacked and killed. Is the dimension of returning to the countryside so chaotic? Zhang Chen thought to himself. He has never heard of a similar situation in the billions of reincarnations of abstinence learning information. It is probably a life dominated by 4 stages, with a lifespan of less than 10,000 years, which is too short for the Pan-Human Alliance system to record. However, the dimension of returning to the countryside, shrouded in the miracle arena, is inevitably bloody and barbaric. Once an opportunity arises, there will inevitably be creatures who engage in crazy slaughter for the sake of points. This is still true. There are limitations to obtaining points, which can only be achieved through battles at the same level or by killing enemies at higher levels. Otherwise, there may not be many living beings in the entire Guishu dimension. At this moment, a reminder sounded in Zhang Chen's ear from the advanced artificial intelligence. The divine servant of the Pan-Human Alliance system. In the forum of Scarlet Town, a large number of posts suddenly refreshed. Based on the analysis of the content of the posts, Scarlet Town is being attacked by a force called Blue Moon Town, and their attack actions are very planned. Whether it's the chaos caused by the bribed local gangs or the siege of the main team of the werewolves from 3 directions outside the town, they were all launched at the same time. Zhang Chen asked in his heart, which direction is the opening that surrounds 3 and puts 1? He knows that in this world where points are paramount, missing 1 in the 3 circles is not necessarily a way to survive. But whether the 3 gaps and 1 gap is a way out or a dead end, he must have an understanding in his heart. The voice of the Pan-Human Alliance system rang in his ear. To the west. In addition, someone posted on the forum saying that the Mage Tower in the west of the town has lit up a barrier. The attacking side of Blue Moon Town shows signs of actively avoiding this Mage Tower. There are several posts saying that several powerful buildings in Blue Moon Town have been spared no harm. It seems that the plan needs to change. Seeing the situation taking a sharp turn for the worse, Zhang Chen understood in his heart that if he wanted to continue leisurely walking to the Jinshi Mage Tower, he probably wouldn't be able to do it. However, if you can't get up and develop quietly, seems like only one reckless move. Or pretend to be a master. Anyway, as long as you don't encounter divine-level powerhouses. Invincible. Chapter 9. Unmatched, mowing grass and getting rich. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The slaughter is blooming, and the scene was chaotic at one point. Don't kill me, I'm useful. Leave me alone, I'm a woman. You can. Sister, I'll fight with you. It can only be said that except for the lucky creatures like the succubus who relied on selling meat and survived a peaceful period of more than 10 years. Creatures that can survive in the dimension of returning to the countryside, especially male creatures, have more or less combat power. Now that the enemies are all starting to kill indiscriminately, some are naturally resisting, while others are taking advantage of the chaos and killing wildly, secretly earning points. Kill. 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 Has this day finally arrived? I've had enough to live. Go to the special Guishu dimension and arena. Demons are unleashing magical energy, humans are using a variety of skills to escape or fight, mechanical life's energy weapons are roaring, a large number of beams of light are flying everywhere, and the stone bricks in Scarlet Town are blasted away, creating smoke and dust. Many Zergs have torn off their usual friendly disguise, revealing sharp blades and slaughtering and devouring them. As the attacking team, the Werewolf Guild is developing wildly, forming small battle groups and charging loudly. Follow me. Rush over. Crush everything. With the wolf head of the second stage as the vanguard, it ignites a gray and black power to return to the countryside, ignoring all obstacles and leading the charge, chopping down the enemies of the first stage and leaving them to be killed by the same clan behind. And in the first stage, the werewolf will cut off their normal life and leave it to the ordinary werewolf to kill. As the slaughter spread, a large number of ordinary werewolves quickly accumulated 100 points and directly purchased 1 thread of returning power from the arena on the battlefield. Got it. Ha ha ha, I'm also a superhero. Kill and kill, I want to become stronger. Me too. In an instant, one after another, extraordinary werewolves of stage 1 were born one after another. The werewolf army is rapidly growing like a snowball. Amidst chaos, a small group of werewolf-headed people, wielding knives and burning the black and grey power of returning to the countryside, arrived near Zhangchen. They were accustomed to peace and had been fighting fake matches for more than 10 years. The creatures of Scarlet Town were frantically fleeing. Zhangchen also pretended to be a frightened ordinary person and got involved, trying to run away. He is still cautious. He has obtained a large amount of information from the Pan-Human Alliance system and is very familiar with the level of immortals, true gods, and true immortals. As long as the immortal level is willing, they can scan everything on the planet with their divine mind at all times, although maintaining scanning vigilance at all times can be tiring. But no one can guarantee that when Zhangchen takes action, he will not be swept by the divine power of a true god-level powerhouse, or there may be something similar to artificial intelligence on this planet that is constantly being monitored. After all, this is the planet Zenith, and from its name, it is known that there is at least an immortal human being from a Western cultural background who comes from Earth on this planet. What if a fellow villager stabs him in the back when he sees him? There is one more doubt. He had just been trafficked by tentacle monsters for less than half a day, and after more than a decade of calm in Scarlet Town, chaos and slaughter began. It's hard to say, is this really a coincidence? Someone wants to force him to take action and observe his abilities. Last time he killed the demon, it seems like billions of reincarnations have passed. In fact, time in reality is just 3 moments. But Zhangchen also knew that with the wolf-headed people killing so recklessly, there were fewer and fewer living creatures, and he was bound to be exposed. So, he doesn't need to wait. Anyway, sooner or later we have to take action. If we do, we can earn more points in the arena. Zhangchen understood the interests and risks involved, had a clear mind, and began using the secondary time and space prison. He secretly stole 3 heads and earned a total of 177 points. Who is it? What's going on? I hacked to death, but there's no points prompt. Damn it, who took my head? 3 wolf-headed human heads who were robbed of their prey, realizing something was wrong, shouted loudly. Zhangchen lowered his head and walked through the chaotic slaughter. He knew that once he made a move, he couldn't hide it. Since that's the case, the slaughter begins. Next, all living creatures within 3 meters of Zhang's mark collapsed silently without even seeing their bodies, all of which were taken into a newly opened secondary storage space. The 3 wolf-headed people who were shouting and shouting just now died silently, even their bodies disappeared. Zhangchen's combat power is extremely unbalanced. Hurry, we can only rely on walking. But if he kills, with just one glance, he can deal the law-level damage of the second time and space prison and destroy everything in his field of view within 3 meters. However, it is only 3 meters. This is suppression from the dimension of returning to the countryside, suppressing all non-returning forces, including spiritual power. This is still Zhangchen's ability to perceive 3 meters outside the body after undergoing billions of cycles of reincarnation and abstinence, honing his spiritual will and possessing the ultimate spiritual power of mortals. Unfortunately, even so, he still did not have the ability to awaken innate mental abilities on his own. It can only be said that being in the prison of time and space, constantly resetting reincarnation, can only hone willpower, and there is no material time for him to awaken other abilities on his own. In addition, it is also related to Zhangchen's position in the return to the village dimension, which suppresses all extraordinary non-return to the village forces. Zhang Jie had just started actively killing when everyone nearby noticed him. After all, his state is too eerie. Any living creature that approaches will die. Some creatures silently stay away, while others keep a distance to observe and see if they can pick up any leaks. Stay away from him. The werewolf in stage 2 shouted, it can't understand this seemingly ordinary human either. Tell him he's strong. He is running after people like an ordinary person, and then, others are running very fast and he can't catch up. Let's say he's weak. All living beings that approach this human being die silently, even their bodies disappear. What innate ability has this human awakened? Is even the first stage so strong? Asked a werewolf who had just advanced to the first stage, puzzled. Do you want to try attacking him remotely? Some werewolves also turned red-eyed as they watched a large number of points being harvested by Zhang Chen, feeling very unhappy and sour. Don't. The situation is unknown. The werewolf in stage 2 ordered, this human is too eerie. Let the mayor come and kill him. When the mayor of Blue Moon brings his tribe in, he will die. Zhang Chen continues to engage in crazy killings. Although he cannot catch up with the awakeners in the first stage, harvesting ordinary creatures also earns points. Under the damage of his secondary time and space prison, any existence below the divine level can die silently. One body after another fell silently and disappeared. A large number of lives were slaughtered by Zhang Hen, like cutting grass. At the beginning of the slaughter, Zhang Chen's moral values from Earth made him feel a little uncomfortable. Until now, he has become completely numb and ruthless. He even had some pleasure. That is a drunken feeling of arbitrarily dominating the life and death of all beings. Zhang Chen glanced over again and saw a secondary time and space prison exploding in the brain of an elderly werewolf. Its body collapsed weakly, and the old body was stored in storage space. Zhang Guikai suddenly remembered that although he possessed immortality due to his characteristics of time and space, but he is not immortal either. If I die of old age, although I can be resurrected, I can only be resurrected in the state I was in within 24 hours before death, and I will continue to live in old age. Zhang Chen decided in his heart, this kind of bad situation that may occur in the future must be avoided in advance. He felt a sense of urgency in his heart. That is the instinctive fear of life and death. The speed of Zhang Chen's pursuit of other creatures has become faster. He needs more points. Get stronger. Becoming a god. Immortal life. Break free from the layout of unknown entities. Zhang Zhan became more and more enthusiastic as he killed, his gaze swept by, and another first-level Zerg who couldn't run out of his 3-meter range was glared to death, and his body was stored in the storage space. Suddenly, Zhang Chen's gaze froze. He saw a floating shuttle lying on the ground. Is it a technological product or a usable version for humans? Zhang Chen's thought moved and he locked onto a small area inside the floating shuttle, opening the prison of time and space. He quickly stepped forward and searched through the silver bracelet space on his left hand, picking out an unbound electronic hacker machine from the loot that had just killed a massive number of creatures. Using the techniques he had learned billions of times in his reincarnation, he began to operate the floating shuttle. In 6 breaths, Zhang Chen cracked the safety system of the suspended shuttle. He began to control the floating shuttle quickly and proficiently. Zhang Zhan's mind moved and reset the time and space within the prison of time and space, saving himself the passage of life. He unlocked the floating shuttle again and controlled the flight. With a thought, he lifted the lock of the temporal prison on this temporary world. The next moment arrives. Zhang Hen has taken off. He drove a floating shuttle, speeding through the chaotic streets. Wherever passed, within a radius of 3 meters, all living creatures disappeared and disappeared. The werewolf in the second stage has been paying attention to the situation of Zhang Chen, a strange human. Seeing that Zhang Chen even knows how to use electronic hacking techniques and has fortunately obtained flying tools, he quickly shouted, "Retreat, retreat, let's change direction, change direction." Can Zhang Chen make these long-legged points run? He controls the shuttle and approaches quickly. Wherever he passed, all living beings fell to the ground and died, and the bodies disappeared again, all of which he had collected into the storage space. It can only be said that this situation is very strange. A mortal piloted a floating shuttle, closely following the ground, with a large number of ordinary creatures. The first stage awakener died silently. Soon, the werewolf army was caught up by Zhang Chen. The werewolf corps began to shoot with bows, firearms, grenades, and some even controlled loot energy weapons. This is a carpet-like bombing, causing a large number of explosions and thick fog. The shuttle speed is extremely fast. In an instant, Zhang Chen, who was unharmed, drove a flying shuttle, charging out of the explosion and thick smoke, continuing to pursue the werewolf army. Along the way, all the attacks that came head-on were firmly resisted by Zhang Hen. He opened an entrance in front of him with a newly opened secondary time and space prison, and all attacks were incorporated into it. The wolf-headed people, in despairing insults and begging for mercy, were silently slaughtered within 3 meters of Zhang Hen, and then their bodies disappeared. This seems to be a predetermined fate, with no wolves to escape. The werewolf in the second stage quickly ran away while turning back and shouting, "Stop it, don't think you have awakened a powerful innate ability to do whatever you want. When the legendary leader of our tribe, Blue Moon Town, arrives, you cannot defeat. You only have the chance to be killed in a flash." Although he was shouting loudly, his body ran honestly to the front of the werewolf corps, relying solely on its loud voice to make Zhang Yu hear. Zhang Chen's killing speed was very fast, and it wasn't until the second stage of the werewolves finished shouting that the werewolf army had already disappeared. He didn't respond and continued to kill at his own pace. Who would waste their emotions and words on walking points? And if he kills 1 point faster, he can reduce the risk of being noticed by divine-level powerhouses. It's like a ghost cutting grass. There were fugitive creatures nearby who saw this scene and stopped in despair, their expressions collapsing. They looked up at the sky and laughed wildly, "Ha ha ha, everyone must die. I will die, you will die, he will die, you werewolves will also die, ha ha ha, everyone must die." Death. Its words were still in its mouth, and Zhang Yan, who was flying by, stared at it with a single glance, and the body disappeared without a trace. In less than half a minute, no matter how much the werewolves and other werewolves in Stage 2 shouted, or were caught up by Zhang Chen driving a floating shuttle, and then his eyes swept over him, dead without a sound. The shuttle passed by, and a large number of corpses were all collected into the storage space by Zhang Trace. Zhang Chen glanced at the infinity mark on his arm, and his arena points had already exceeded 5 digits. "I'm just drilling for loopholes." Zhang Qinshin said, "Under normal circumstances, only by crushing a large realm can lawn mowing be formed. However, if you crush a realm, because your own realm is higher than the enemy's, killing will not earn points. But I'm different. I'm in the mortal realm now, and killing anything earns points." Zhang Chen felt like he was playing the unparalleled lawn mowing game, but his attack range was indeed a bit small. Only a radius of 3 meters. After this wave of fertilization, quickly transform and upgrade. Never go out until resources are depleted. After slaughtering the werewolf army, Zhang Chen was not greedy and took advantage of the situation to harvest several creatures, stopping the countdown to the death struggle in the arena at 99/100. He controlled the floating shuttle, took off, and headed towards the west of Scarlet Town. He still plans to go to the Mage Tower to buy some inheritance potions and see if there are any innate ability awakening potions that he likes. If it really doesn't exist, then buy a random awakening potion from the mall and make do with it. A 3-meter attack distance, short and outrageous. He has had enough of it. We can't continue like this. He must start practicing immediately. Chapter 10. Queuing and Organizing Harvests. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Scarlet Town, the westernmost region. A magnificent mage tower made of stacked red bricks, towering into the clouds, with a light red light shield that unfolds and falls from the top, covering the entire mage tower and the surrounding area. Under the strong protection of the mage tower, the nearby area appears peaceful and overcrowded. In stark contrast to the nearby town of Scarlet, which was engulfed in turmoil and war. Looking down at the ground from a high altitude, outside the entrance and exit of the Mage Tower's light shield and the outside world, there is a long queue of various creatures, including robots, rabbits, half-humans, octopuses, goblins. Zerg's Zhongchen didn't hide anything. He was piloting a floating shuttle and landing from a high altitude. When leaning against the ground, he deliberately chose a position in the middle of the team, so as not to be too close to the defense light shield and appear hostile. The shuttle hovered half a meter above the ground. Zhongchen jumped down, his mind twitched, and the suspended shuttle was directly stored in the storage space. His graceful landing movements, bold use of technological and storage equipment, amazed those queuing up around to enter the light shield of the Mage Tower. Is that equipment for technological civilization? It is indeed as magical as rumored, capable of allowing an ordinary creature to fly in the sky. That must be very expensive. He's just an ordinary creature that's not afraid of being robbed. Do you believe he's an ordinary creature? With Scarlet Town so chaotic now, maybe he's fishing. These humans already have space equipment. No, I'm a bit familiar with this shuttle, not the one that Lao Wang often shows off. Speaking of which, this alien with a lobster head, humanoid body, and spider feet couldn't continue. Because Zhang Chen's gaze swept over, the malevolent aura that had just slaughtered nearly 100 people made the shrimp-headed spider, who dared not fight for points and only sought refuge in the Mage Tower, shut up. Zhang Chen saw that everyone was queuing, but he didn't want to queue up, so he walked towards the shrimp-headed spider and asked in the other person's language, "Can we just cut in line here?" The shrimp-headed spider lowered its head and gathered its 8 legs, making itself appear harmless and non-aggressive. It whispered, "The Mage Tower has just announced the new rules here. Noble guests and legendary or above can enter directly. Creatures below the legendary level need to queue up for capital verification, as there are too many people seeking refuge." Upon hearing this, Zhang Chen nodded and turned around to queue up at the back of the line. At this moment, the shrimp spider stopped him and said, "Boss, I may not have enough points to get in. How about I pretend to be your servant and you provide double the points to the Mage Tower for verification, so you don't have to queue up? By the way, please help me and take me inside for shelter." Upon hearing this, Zhang Chen stopped and turned around to glance at it, saying, "Very good, win-win situation." He stood in front of the shrimp-headed spider, and there were over 100 people in front of him, which would take about 10 minutes. As for the people behind him, they only looked at him a few more times but dared not say anything. Firstly, to check the normal integral and double integral, the speed is the same. In addition, Zhang Chen's landing method just now made him look very complicated, so no one dared to speak up and disagree. There is also a human woman with an ordinary appearance and physique. She has seen Zhang Chen commit murder in the neighborhood because she has an electric car that runs fast, so she was not harvested as a point by Zhang Chen. She still has a psychological shadow now. Seeing Zhang Chen again, she was so scared that she was trembling manually, but she didn't forget to use the Pan-Human Alliance system to post on the forum. Fear. I have encountered a human giant who slaughtered like cutting grass again. At this moment, Zhang Chen was busy using his consciousness to count the spoils of war among the 9 secondary time and space prisons, but he didn't have time to peek at the forum of the Pan-Human Alliance system. But even if he saw it, he just smiled in his heart. It is impossible to speak, he has already moved away from the low-level fun of pretending to be forced. Although this battle lasted less than a minute, the gains were enormous. Just by accumulating points in the arena, he has risen to 13,287. This level of wealth is rare even for strong players of the golden elixir to stay with them. Generally, they exchange life potions directly in the arena, mall and are unlikely to be stored. If one day they are defeated and half of their points are taken away by the enemy, that would be ridiculous. Within the 9 secondary time and space prisons, which were completely controlled by Zhang Chen, he quickly sorted out the gains of this station in less than 3 minutes. After removing some messy clothes, debris, and so on, he obtained 158 ordinary level weapons and armor, 14 first-level weapons and first-level armor, and a second-level wolf tooth stick from the second-level werewolf leader. These things have varying degrees of damage, but it doesn't matter. For Zhang Chen, their value is just for selling in exchange for resources. The rest are miscellaneous auxiliary equipment from various civilizations, such as the famous AK series automatic rifle and bullets on Earth, as well as electronic hacker machines, Gaussian energy pistols, virtual projectors, basic smart chips, mobile phones, various explosive grenades, game consoles, books, and so on. Zhang even found 8 used inflatable dolls clearly from Earth civilization, and 2 unopened popular anime versions. For me, these things are not very useful, but they may still be useful in the future, such as electronic hacking machines, Zhang Xin thought. He classified these gains, but he had no intention of moving except for some equipment that could clearly be sold for points. Anyway, his storage space is infinitely large. Why don't you keep these things that can't sell many points? What if they are useful in the future? After Zhang Chen finished sorting out the spoils, the team had reached the end, and there were only 2 people in front of him who were verifying their points. The person responsible for checking whether the guests have purchasing power is a human maid and a puppet knight. Points are less than 100, please go back. The dog-headed man, who didn't have enough points, suddenly looked desperate and wanted to plead, but when he saw the puppet knight with a blood-stained sword living next to him, he remained rational and didn't entangle. The last creature before Zhang Chen's turn was a semi-mechanical transformation person. The maid exchanged her palm with it and said expressionlessly, "Through." Next, it's Zhang Chen's turn. He quickly stepped forward, and the shrimp-headed spider behind him had a nervous expression on his face, quickly following closely. A human maid dressed in medieval attire, lifted her left hand and revealed the infinity mark on her palm. She remained calm and said to Zhang Jie, "Please show me your points." Zhang Chen lifted his exposed forearm for a moment, thought for a moment, and then moved the infinity mark on it to his left heart, following the flow. He then aligned it with the maid's mark in the distance. The maid saw Zhang Chen's specific points. Suddenly, she showed a brilliant smile, bent down and made a gesture of invitation, warmly saying, "Welcome, esteemed guest. Please come inside. May your time at the Mage's Tower be pleasant." More than 10,000 points, legendary financial strength. You can buy her several lifetimes of service, but you can't tolerate her disrespect.